say that it feels right.
What's up, guys? It's the Blender, and we are back in Baldur's Gate 3 with our Oathbreaker Hexblade. Headed through the... I guess it would be the final early parts. I think we basically are working on getting level 6, but we do so with some of like the smaller... some of the fights that reward more XP, but aren't necessarily like crazy impactful and don't have like overwhelming numbers. We also thin out the ones that would. We finished off the Kaga and whatnot and the Grove, and then we looted the Grove. We did not, of note, go steal the idol and turn in for the Ring of Protection, which is to me a mistake. I want that ring as soon as possible so I can replace the Blessed one, or the Whispering Promise, but it is what it is. So we recognize and remember that eventually. But in this case, we come over here and hit the Grimforge. We talk to the spiders. You can do all sorts of different options. The Persuasion one, so like first, if you pass that, you get an automatic win option. If you fail that, you get to try and persuade it. I chose the Oathbreaker one to try and be able to get advantage on it. It didn't give it to me, it just basically like changed the DC. So not too shabby. We passed it. We don't have to fight them for the 160 something XP for it. But now, one of the things we do, right, when we first came through the Grimforge, we basically avoided this area. Not because it's got some really good like easy XP to acquire, but it does have some fights in it that we didn't want to take at the time when we were doing it. So we were gonna take it and go ahead and engage that guy by himself, but of course we've got the eye. Now I'll use Shatter to pop this guy, but like I said in the last one, apparently they're susceptible to being tossed off outside of the map, right? So in theory, you should be able to just take this eye over here and throw it into the water, and it would die. I'm not sure where all the options for throwing them into death is, but I don't think they can succeed against the check, right? Like they don't have any agility to speak of, right? So if you're hardcore, not doing the not allowing DPS scrolls even for that functional purpose, then just toss it off the map somewhere. But its death's coming eventually. For now that the eye's gone, this guy right here has a limited time offer on life. But he won't come to where I want him to. What a pain. He must know. He must know.
Stinking snitch. No one drugs with clan flamesight.
Yeah, I don't care about your clan. I thought about engaging him right there and just going with the surprise round. Problem is he runs away. As a ranged character, he runs away. So we want him to run into this area, not away from it. We don't want him to run over there and like end up pulling other people. We want him to keep this solo. Go ahead and start the old surprise round, and then enter at will. And we miss. Gosh, we're terrible. We're at the end of the order, and good thing we noticed, right? So that means we can't do any of our buffering of spell shenanigans that we've been doing to save spells. So this is just going to be a tougher fight in general. Take that damn cable out of that headset of headphones. We're using Shovel to impose disadvantage and sort of give him an extra something to attack. Meanwhile, we have, this darn entangle on us. We don't have a strength elixir on ourselves, which is part of what made it possible for him to go ahead and ensnare us. If we had had the strength one on, we might not. We probably would have passed the check. Shovel's putting in work, getting some crits, and this guy didn't murder Shovel, but he didn't care about the disadvantage because he just ran away. Now that he's in the corner, we're going to do the same thing, and just, if he chooses to shovel, it's a worthy sacrifice. We can't really move anywhere, so this is just sort of a ranged battle where he has the benefit. Now what we could do is just throw a darkness, and what we should have done is throw a darkness on top of ourselves. If we had done that, we'd have been solid. But we managed to eke out a 56% chance to hit and take out his concentration on the entangle, which means we now get to pose disadvantage with ourselves and get into the combat. Of course, we miss again. Without lightning charges, with not having the +1, it sort of hurts. You can, especially early, you can supplement this. And I think part of this, I don't know which one of my stabs I currently have as the hex weapon, because I use, for all my vendor shenanigans, I usually put the goldworm staff as my vendor weapon or my hexblade weapon. And so if I'm using the spell sparkler without having a strength potion on, and it's not my hexblade, then I'm using my 8 strength, which is a -1 modifier, to swing this thing. So that could be why it is just missing galore. I know that happens a couple different times in this run, where I completely forget that I'm utilizing my charisma and I didn't move my hexblade over. But that's not what happened here. I just, with the +3, I just failed. That them be the breaks. Here we're cool with fighting this guy. We don't, feel free to, poison them or murder them, etc. However you see fit. I find it nice to move this guy away, talk to him, and then talk to him so that he allows us to do our quest and doesn't come walking up later. And then we just go, or at least during the thing. I think he does it anyway here. But ideally, I want him to stay down there. But he's coming up here and he's going to mess with my stuff. So we don't have Shovel to activate the surprise round, so it's really just got to go from there. He's the bigger threat. She goes invisible and then comes back out, but he's the bigger threat by far. I realized that I have a cultivation elixir on, and that hasn't helped. So now alert should make it so that I start first. We got the surprise round. Since we're first, we can go ahead and do our buffering, which gives us advantage, which will help overcome that hit chance problem we were having before. We put in some work, but now he's got Booming Blade on him. The thing that I don't realize here, or forget here for a second, is that he's in surprise round, so he's not moving anyway. I moved so that he would run to me. Oh, I lied. His surprise round finished. I did. Good thing. I did it well. I did it right. If that was in the surprise round, no, because the surprise round I did the vengeance. That's right. I did the vow of enmity. Here you can sort of figure out where she is by the line, where the thing will let you go to. So obviously it curls around that guy. We don't really care about that, but we found out where she was, and then we're gonna just go ahead and get her out of invisibility like that. Now, I don't think we have enough movement to pose disadvantage on her again. Oh, we did. Just barely. But her having a chance gives us the opportunity to go ahead and buffer a Shield of Faith on. She runs through, we get an opportunity to attack anyway. And now, as long as we hit, we should basically just rip her apart. We didn't hit. We did that time. You could smite. I'm not going to there. Because I'm a hoarder of spells. I'm like a notorious like resource non-user. And then we'll get our poison from the old stick pit, whatever his name is. And then here, you sort of have to do a little bit of prep in order to get these guys, in order to get the ring. I put on my thievery stuff, so I should be able to get the the pickpocket part, but you kind of have to beat the perception check too, and you have to beat them pushing off a specific corpse. I forget which one it is that is the problem. So we have to win the perception check here, which we do, and that should allow us to then go ahead and have an option to add the sleight of hand. And if we win the sleight of hand, then we should be able to have ourselves a nice invisibility ring that we likely will never use. But it would allow us, if we didn't have scrolls and stuff like that, it would give us a free cast of invisibility. So we keep it in the hotbar. I don't think we ever use it in this run. Maybe once, but it's an option. And if you're in like a larger party, like a 4-man party, right, like with a group of people, I could see it having, a lot more use for a group, as you're probably not going to bog down the entire group with the vendor shenanigans that you do on a solo character like this. They don't seem to care that we can lockpick this, but they can be a tough fight. You want to pickpocket the first guy, the guy who's not mute or deaf or whatever, the guy who it doesn't have whatever the problem is, the one who keeps giving him all the orders. That guy has a bomb on him and a smoke powder bomb, and if you don't move that smoke powder bomb or remove that smoke powder bomb, it can be pretty devastating when you're already trying to keep from tanking their things. I tried to see if Thunderwave would move that darn rock, but it didn't work. Then finally I decided that whatever's underneath that rock isn't worth it. It's usually just gold and other garbo. This chest is an easy loot. There's no lockpick to be had or whatnot, but it's important to stay crouched from the early part so that you don't activate the oozes here. I do have a elixir of vigilance on, so I wouldn't be surprised. However, with my AC, even though they would probably not hit me most of the time, for whatever reason, these oozes do all the oozes in the game. They do just a ton of damage. Like when you're in Act 2 and you fight the oozes down in the acid pit or whatnot, like you don't want to get hit. And the same holds true for these guys, right? These guys have acid. They have an acid spit and whatnot, but they can be kind of a pain. Now, I put on tight string here. Not necessary to use Titan string unless I pop a strength elixir.
Pave my path with corpses.
So here I should buffer with like multiple dashes before I roll into there in order to get out. But it looks like I've got enough movement speed to make my way. If I'd have buffered it, I'd be able to make that jump and get to the torches already. But pretty confident in my AC already. Pretty confident overall. And making some, sort of silly mistakes, right? Like, I still have my thievery gear on, rather than having my damage gear. Not that the acid ring would help against the acid guys, but it might do a little bit. And then having the thievery gloves on instead of the troubadour, so my AC's down a little bit. Just silly little mistakes. And then using a Titan string bow without having a strength elixir on. So like, it's supposed to add my strength modifier to the damage. Well, what's it gonna do? Add a -1? Like, make the fight take longer? It's awful. So if you're not using strength elixir, use the bow of awareness or bow of hunting.
Need any advantage I can get.
Silly me. What I should do is take the time behind the rock, keep resetting the fight time, right, and just transfer to all the gear that I was supposed to have on by now, or before this, and then drink the right potion, and then make this take much less time. But there we go. Not a big difference in damage, but I'm pretty sure the roll was a lot different there. Get them all grouped up. We could use something like fire arrows or whatnot, but since we're just, like, this is really easy, just very similar to the way we do the, what was it, the flaming fist. We just come out, shoot them, go back in, shoot, come back out, shoot, buff, etc. So we can just keep up this rotation without taking any damage. They can't cross the chasm, and they never run away. So this is just a matter of attrition, waiting them out. I do vow enmity, not because I need chance to hit, but so that I have chance to crit. Rolling 2 dice instead of 1 basically doubles your chance to crit. I think here we'll dip, and then I'm trying to figure out if it's worth it to, like, do the Inquisitor's Days. We did the Vow of Enmity, etc. We don't want to do the Inquisitor's Days function, Inquisitor's Wrath, until the end of the turn. I forget to do it there. And now I'm running out of turns on the fire that I have on there, and I'm going to have to re-up that. So just little inefficiencies, right? If you're not into the spell buffering, in fact, if you're not doing the spell buffering, I don't think there's ever a scenario where I would use the Inquisitor's Wrath, because it only lasts for 2 turns, and the way that turn-based things work in this game is sort of rough, because they expire basically on the beginning of turn 1, whatever that turn is. So, like, if I popped it here, like let's say here, I popped Inquisitor's Days, I would get whatever attacks I do would be buffed by it, and then the next turn, that would be round, I'd have 2 on the timer, and then the moment that I went into the next one, I would have 1 round, and I believe when it became my turn, it would drop off, and I would have to either rebuff it, or I would have it, and I'd only be able to use it for those. But in that case, there's something that happens weirdly with haste potions and Terrazul that happen that way, because you want to, like, go lethargic on that round where you're in the 1 round, right? So that it resets the buffer, right? And then you have 2 rounds, but you've been lethargic for 1. So it gets sort of, just little quirky stuff. Here we, but 2 rounds of Inquisitor's Wrath just isn't enough, I don't think, to sort of, like, warrant it being, a full oath charge. I could see a 10 round, I could see, 5 or 6 rounds, something like that. Here, this is risky. We're going to go ahead and pickpocket her first, and then pick the smoke powder, because once you pick the smoke powder next to her, it starts the conversation. But because we took the one out of her pocket, we're getting both of them here. You can do the history check, but if you do the history check, you get an option to talk to her about something that, some of the rest of that. And if you do, then she gets mad, and she doesn't show up in the next area. But if you tell her that she's good, she's free to go, whether you remove the smoke powder or not, she shows up in Act 3 and helps you out. When you're trying to enter the city, she's the one that comes up and throws the bomb and disables the Steel Watcher. Now, in this playthrough, I tested whether or not letting Barkus live and Wulbren not live through Act 2, what that would do, and what it does is it just locks you out of the Iron Hand Gnome's quest anyway. So, just so you are aware, if you are interested in doing the Iron Hand Gnome stuff, do not. Barkus probably isn't a necessary requirement for that, but Wulbren definitely is. I was hoping that there was something in the way of like Barkus living and Wulbren not would create a void, and that we would see Barkus and he'd be telling us about the plight of the Iron Hand Gnomes, and we could like help lead him into there, or maybe he found the plans for Wulbren's smoke powder bomb, and stricken by grief, he's decided to go ahead and go through with it, or something like that, right? Some sort of like function there. Here, I get to learn that I messed up which one of my staves was my hex weapon. So now I have to buy it back and then steal my gold back by doing the buff, doing the glitch again.
The past is near. Well, let's see what you've got.
In fact, with a strength elixir, this is actually a better setup. At least early. While your proficiency is 2, because they did the Hexblade's curse, it's based off proficiency, and it's not based off like your charisma. As long as your proficiency is 2, right? The +2 from strength is better than the +2 damage you're going to get from the Hexblade's curse. Now, the Hexblade's curse does reduce the number you need for a crit, which has its own, value. So if you're trying to do a crit build, then it has a bit more value. But you can manually put it on a character anytime you want. So I like to use Hexblade's curse to open from out of stealth, right, to initiate surprise rounds on big enemies. Here's where I'm going to use the Shatter to obliterate this stupid thing. Like I said, if you don't want to use damage spells for those guys specifically, toss them off.
Shove moss in your own gob and
I
quiet. They've been fed plenty.
This fight doesn't take a lot, right? We get help from the beast and whatnot. If you want the beast to live, then it can be a little harder. You have to focus a little bit more on where you're going to be. I'm trying to make sure that at least one of them lives, so I can talk to them and have them open the thing. I make this my hex weapon for extra damage, but like I said, mathematically it doesn't make sense to have the Hexblade on there anyway. Not at least until proficiency is 3, or until I have a +4 to my charisma, so that my 2 hit is only a -1 compared to the strength elixir. Now, I place myself between the 2 Rothe, so that I'm closer to this barbarian, and with my alert, or with my stuff, I'm able to push her. But I don't get the push here. I should try and... I think it's difficult to throw people off of here, right? So I'm sort of in a pickle. And then I come to pose disadvantage on this guy. And if I recall correctly, I don't get far enough. Right? I stop here. And the third guy from down on the bottom Rothe, right, decides to take a run at me. And he yeets me off this cliff. But I'm fast enough to get to the process manager and close the game and reset it before before this happens. Yep, here we go. Yeet. There we go. Now that's end, right? There's no break, right? Like I didn't, like I hit escape out of sheer panic, but I can't do a save of the game there, right? So I hit escape out of panic, seeing my character fly, but because the fall is long enough in this particular area, I was able to get to the process manager and close that. You saw it starting to save up in the top left, which is basically the game indicating, hey, we did a we have a shutdown command. We need to go ahead and save the state of the game. However, because the process kill command happens on a system level and it doesn't ask the game to shut down nicely, right? The save that the game is trying to do fails to happen. And when that fails to happen, it then processes into a just basically like a game crash on the game's end, right? And one failed save, so it has to load the previous good configuration. So it loads the last place that it knew, or that it has with a good file. And as you can see, my honor mode is still intact. So when you see people who have, and even mine, right? Like if you see people who have jump cuts of like, this is my solo honor mode run, etc., and it jumps from one to the other, to the other, to the other. They might do it in all in one. They might be able to do that, but we can all save scum it. Everybody can and probably does. When you get 40, 50 hours in there, right? You're probably going to do that when that happens. Luckily, we saved before the eye, so we didn't lose a whole lot of time. We'll redo that exactly in the same place, and we'll do the same setup, but we'll not make the same mistake of being that close to the edge. I think he still tries or comes close, but we'll reset this. Now, people like Morgana who do it on stream, right? That is significantly more impressive, right? Because they do it in one run, one take, right? Now she does admittedly do the game a little weird. She goes and gets a whole bunch of like power spikes so that she can thoroughly destroy honor mode early, or like Act 1 with Rat Bat and stuff like that, and a whole bunch of different like condition locks, right? And that's how she likes to have fun, for sure, right? And she has plenty of skills. She's beaten a whole bunch of different challenges and stuff like that. Here, again, not a particularly good spot. He could yeet me off of this, like over the top of that guy and off this edge again. So I think we don't here so that we can try and shield if we need to. And he tried, right? Now he failed, but that means that the game thinks that he could have yeeted me off that ledge. So by all rights, like the game's calculations, I could have gone off that ledge again, right? He failed, so we get the win there. But note to anybody else when doing this fight, push the barbarian. If you want the Rothe to live, push the barbarian off the cliff, and then get the hell out of dodge or get your back up against the wall so that this other guy cannot yeet you with him. The other ones don't have this hunter guy, and the barbarian has enough strength to do it if they do. So if you end up locked in combat with the barbarian and they run around you, they can like yeet you off the cliff. But he, as some sort of like fighter, like strength fighter, he has enough strength to yeet you from a very, very long ways away. So yeah, honor mode solo runs generally, especially if they're like jump cut or something like that, typically expect them to be save scumming and giving you the best fights, right? Like I do some save scumming or some jump cuts in. I believe my plan is to do jump cuts in this series, right? I have it recorded with this stuff. I'm just doing the editing. But when I get to the final like fights, there's basically like two different versions of the build that one being with the ballast armor and one without the ballast armor. The one without the ballast armor is significantly more tanky because it's got the armor of persistence instead of the barless, so it's in heavy, 20 AC versus 14 AC out of the ballast armor. But the ballast armor literally doubles your piercing damage, which can be crazy good. So when I do those endgame fights, I absolutely do the one fight one way, right, and do the other fight the other way, right, and showcase both to be like, hey, this works with both. It's just you have to understand what your build, like what the build is doing. Like you have to understand what's sort of like its key points and what it's good at, and then utilize those to your advantage. Right, so the tanky one is exactly that. It's tanky. It can take hits. It can stand in front of the dragon. Right, it can. It has a giant AC. It can't take 4 full tiers, level 6 magic missiles to the face. But there's ways, there's certain ways around that it can sort of navigate, and it is, like I said, it's tanky. Right, and even as tanky, the Elder Brain fight, for example, is sort of like a DPS check, right? Like you get to the last one, it's 450 damage. If you, depending on how you set up your turn rates, right? If you go second to the Mind Flayer, whoever you chose as the Mind Flayer, and you might be in there. Like there's sometimes some people will go in there and have a I mess up and think he's dead there, by the way. I'm over here like, oh yeah, he'll die to the booming blade, but silence prevents him from being, he's immune to thunder damage. So I should have just killed him outright, rather than try to, bank on interrupting her silence. Surprised, but I polearm him. So yeah, in the last fight, right, the Netherbrain's a pretty big DPS check. Here we have another invisibility that goes off. We see that she's pretty much right there in front of us, right? She went invisible and she moved a little bit. So we'll go ahead and pop her out of her invisibility here. And we failed. And we went, wait, what? I'm sure she was right there.
Any advantage I can get.
And turns out, I believe she was. We missed with our. That's also crazy. The fact that we can get, the fact that we can get opportunity strikes on invisible targets entering or leaving our range is insane. Or at least entering. I don't know if it works on leaving, but definitely works on entering, which is hilarious. That's probably not supposed to happen that way, but I'm okay with it happening just that way, just the way it is. But yeah, the DPS check for the Elder Brain, 400, basically like 450 damage in one round, right? Because like you've got 5 rounds total. If you go second, then you've got to do that. Or if you go first and you get mind broken, then you lose that one. If you get mind broken from
Die for me, won't you?
your damage, then not only will the brain be
someone. Only
immune to the damage that you're doing in the next round, but it's also going to be moving out of your range works too. Neat. But so it'll be immune for 1 round, so you have to wait till round 3 to do damage to it again. And if you wait till round 3 as a melee character, you're likely not getting any damage of it, because it's probably going to break the dang platforms that you're standing on. If you're lucky, you get 2 periods where you get to do damage to this thing for 450, damage overall. So you really sort of have to set it up to do basically like max damage quickly and get 4. Like you have to basically like target 450 damage in one round in order to reliably be able to do the Elder Brain. Here we're going to Minor Illusion this one over there, and then just eat her off with a push. You sort of have to use the shove in order to do this for this one, because you can't toss into this particular ravine for whatever reason. Shove works, and you still get the experience. The previous two guys, killing them, got us the King's Knife, which I'll show you later with a, what do you call it, Hireling, and we're gonna do what is called, it's called like Fugue Forging or something like that, and you can basically have an Under Mountain King knife early, it just in Act 1, as long as you can get it off of that guy. Here I'm really looking to like eke out level 6, so I'm just sort of like going and picking up extra XP that has been left, right? So like we left that bottom left section, we left the Maragon over here, right? We have a couple people up over there, right? Anything that we have sort of like left up to acquire XP is what we would do, right? About what we would do here. Now, once we get level 6, there's other XP that's also easier. We could also do it with this one. I forget, and I believe I already mentioned this in one of the other episodes when we went by, I forget to do the lava elemental, which is a nice chunk of XP. So, and along with the amulet there. So, that's a problem on me. Here, if you unlock the door, right? So, by unlocking the door, if you have the key, it auto opens and you're just instantly in the fight. If you go lockpick the door to unlock it, and then you either invis yourself or use a little buddy there, right, to open it up, right? It opens, there's nobody there, there's no fight starting. And then you can sort of start your surprise round rather than start it by, instantly being in combat because you opened a door and there's baddies behind it. So there we go. We get our surprise round on the group, and we ideally want to murder this Maragon before anything else. We still have our strength potion on, so that's good. We do still have our thievery gear on, so I hope we're wise enough to not make that same mistake twice. Yeah, we look at our candle and go, yeah, that'll be useless against him. I think it would be alright. I don't think the other guys have, I don't think the boars have fire immunity. I think they're just resistant. But here we could, we'll heal, get poison damage, which I think he's also immune to. But there we go. Now we've entered the surprise round, and it's just time to myrtleize a Maragon. We want to keep Shovel alive because we want to keep being able to start fights this way while we're collecting XP. Now the boars and the Maragon are both very susceptible to prone, right? Like ice patches or grease outside the door, etc., can basically just mess their day up. We've gotten 2 shots onto the Maragon and taken his health pretty well. He's not too happy with it. And he glitches out here on this table for whatever reason. But his boar buddy here does not have the same problem. He does turn around and go hang out, so I'm not sure what this path thing is. And these guys got it figured out at least. Like they're ready to go. Now these Hellboars, for whatever reason, I don't know if all Hellboars are like this. But these ones have some sort of like reflect damage. Like when you hit them, they reflect the burning status onto you, And so that is something else to sort of like deal with. It's kind of annoying, especially since the Maragon's the one you want after, and missing doesn't help us. Now we're gonna give these Maragons a chase, or not the Maragons, these Hellboars a chase, and hopefully we switch to our melee. We did not. If we had switched to our melee, then we would get the polearm attack if they entered our melee range, which I assume the Hellboars are about to be able to do, given that they seem to have a better range on their movement. Yeah, if we'd swapped to melee, I think we could have smacked that guy in the face, and I think we could smack this guy in the face, and that would have helped us with just sort of like overall damage throughout the fight. But now that they threaten us, they put us at disadvantage, so hitting the Maragon might not be super great for us. It's still probably the thing we want to do. We pop this guy all the way to 0, and we have set ourselves ablaze just by attacking. We get out with room to run. More kiting. We'll have to tank these Hellboars in closer range. I don't know what that guy was going to do with that Roaring Thunder. We're on our melee, so we actually get to smack this guy. That's what we should have done the last turn to the other guy. This one, he hit us with that rush. I don't know how he managed that. One shot for a crit. And yeah, we should re-up our Shield of Faith, so we can do that with our buffer function, and it helps us just with the AC so that they can't hit us, or have a harder time anyway.
Still on my feet.
Not having too bad a problem keeping the Maragon from killing us. We've got Booming Blade on that guy, so he'll take some passive damage. When he makes it into our melee range, he'll take more damage from our Polar Master, and the Omeragon has a better reach than we do with his two-handed polearm, his halberd there. So his 10-foot reach beats our 5-foot reach. The Booming Blade kills that guy, so we're able to just take and apply our damage to the prone boy, and then kite him away so that the Booming Blade hits, but we crit, and he goes away. Now I pick up the masks. I only get 3, I think, in this run. I believe there's 4. I don't remember where all 4 are. I know there's this one here. There's another one laying on a table up where the near-fight is.
This belonged to a Maragon, one of Hell's.
And I forget where the third one is, but I know I picked it up, right? However, I believe there's 4, and if I remember right, it like gives you extra strength for every Maragon mask that's in your party. And supposedly, you can condition lock that mask. So you could potentially like condition lock yourself at like 23 strength or something like that. Maybe it's 24. I don't know. But it's a bunch of strength. So you can get a whole bunch of strength and like condition lock it and be super silly crazy. I come up here searching to see if you get XP out of this, and then I'm going to make a silly mistake here that could end my run. It doesn't, but this should not be doing testing like this. I jump over here. I wasn't afraid of the mine damage, but if there were repulsors or some sort of knockback effect, I don't think there are. But like, I wasn't entirely sure that there weren't, right? And I'm just sort of up here looking for XP. Like, if I walk over here and go to the bridge, do I get XP? And the answer is no. I got that when I got the Protecty Spark Wall, and now I've used my, Misty Step. But I'm done collecting XP there, since I don't have anything else there. And I'm sort of at a loss. I need a little bit of XP to get 6. Just a little. I think I do Brunhilde here. Or whatever this orc and ogre are.
Seems simple enough.
I forget their names. I think it's like Brunhild and Gurk or something like that.
Better be cautious.
I'm sure it's a reference to something. I like to stand all the way back here, break the door, and then I'll wait for the fire to run out, but I'm going to initiate that surprise round with the shovel once again.
Never wanted the easy path.
We're going to start on Uthira. We're starting on her because she has the higher hit points and she's the bigger threat. She has the higher 2 hit, and her ground slam attack it's super crazy, super annoying to deal with. The bugbear has burst, right? Like if he hits you, he's going to get like, you know, his extra dice on top, right? And he gets to do that like once a turn. And that is silly amounts of damage. So like consistent hits, but because his 2 hit rating is lower than hers, I believe, and he doesn't have the like ability that's going to like make us prone to give himself advantage, or so like he has no way to give himself advantage basically. If we take care of her, we're fine. If we kill him, she goes into a rage and starts taking like half damage. So we don't want that to happen. We just want to take care of business. Here we're sort of at a loss because we can't really do this stuff and like buffer it. So I'm debating on whether it's worth it. Apparently, as I've planned to do some short resting, apparently. Shovelbout gets absolutely murked, so we're going to get him out of there. Surprised he lived. This slam right here, that's the problem. If that hits and knocks you prone, right, and then you're like in this turn order, I'd be fine because I get to stand up before the other guy goes. But in a different turn order, if like she goes and then he goes, that could be devastating because then he would get advantage and you're prone, you take damage from the slam, and then he just basically, you know, trounces the rest of your XP super fast. We managed to get a Hexblade's Curse proc on that character, which is super good. We make the run, so she has to take Booming Blade damage. This is another thing that's a little interesting. Some things, right, it didn't happen there, but some things, like when they are doing an ability and they come in, your polearm attack happens before everything else does. And that'll be that for both of them. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. That whole shovel needs healed. We should come up and do the dagger. Doesn't matter if we get it or not. It's sort of like XP maxing again. If we get it, good. If we don't, oh well. And then same thing with the buried treasure close to it. But we can at least force the buried treasure to come up regardless. We rolled Hirelings. Holy cow.
Strange.
Not going to use inspiration on that. We're running low from what we've done. The devil masks apparently can be turned into basically Orthon bombs by Damon, but I don't ever need Orthon bombs, so.
That's curious.
And here we are, close to 6, right? Still looking for XP. We've given up on the condition locking of the protecting spark wall because that didn't work. Because whatever we hit didn't have a health bar. And I think we just realized we didn't ever get and turn in the ring of protection. So we need to go steal that and turn that in.
More goblins. What's next?
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Also, let me know if you prefer the post narration or the during the gameplay narration, or maybe if you just want me to just never narrate one of these again and just let the gameplay happen. Because the format is always sort of like a question as to what you guys would like best, if at all. But I know that it's a little tough for me to sort of like predict what I did, right? Like this has been weeks ago, right? These episodes were weeks ago.
The path lies before me. Never wanted the easy path.
It also lets me critique myself, right? Where I'm able to basically be like, this is a mistake. I need to, for example, the protection ring. I should have done this the moment I finished the Kaga fight and got out of the druid thing, but instead of porting off to Grimforge to go get more XP, I should have gotten that. Apparently, I have it out for this squirrel.
And bites it. The squirrel
I think if you don't have speak with animals up, he just kicks her. I wanted to try it again. I'm like, no, dang, right?
It's not even close. Now get moving.
Yeah, well, you said the wrong thing. Now you did anyway. For 1 XP, I'll take it. Yeah, I hover yeah, I'm like, I think that without speak with animals, it doesn't do anything, and you just kick the squirrel into a tree, and you get the opportunity to like grin and be like, oh, my skills are super sharp, right? But if you have speak with animals, there are things that just unlock. Another example of this is the owlbear fight. If you don't have speak with animals up, then the cub, he's always hostile to you. You have to go basically like invisible and take off. If you have speak with animals up, first you can sort of like persuade the mother to let you sort of like hang out, and you get basically like an area of protection where you get to set up for the fight. But then as long as you kill the mom and the dad without, or the mom and the mate, without doing damage to the cub, the moment that fight's over, it does cutscene. It like does cutscene for the little buddy and goes, hey, he's hungry, and he starts to chew, and like you hear him talk, right? And you get the opportunity to just let the creature live and walk out. You don't have to burn an invisibility or something for that. Here I'm looking for XP. The most obvious answer is that I haven't done the lava elemental, and I haven't done the hook horrors, right? With Filmgren. But I am searching. I'm searching everywhere, high and low. I haven't done the Paladins of Tyr, though obviously I would prefer to be level 6 and have extra attack myself for that fight, because I don't want to get random murdered by Anders. But we decide to utilize the hook horror fight. This is actually not too terrible, especially with a tank build like this. The hook horrors are not nearly as scary. And then the Suster Bloom provides us with a great opportunity for damage, or not damage, but sort of like control against Filmgren, the mage. And what we want to do here, though, is we want to engage this guy and get him into combat. He's going to call reinforcements, but they don't automatically become in combat. Right? So we should just pass this turn. We should put our buff up, right? And then pass this turn. We don't need to run around the corner, because I'm pretty sure he's surprised. Yep. They're a monstrosity, so we are correctly using the Bow of Awareness, but we do have Titan String Bow, so we could just use that instead, right? For more damage at range, well, until they get into melee range. Using the hunting bow, or hunter's bow, we get the advantage on monstrosities, which is good, and that's going to translate to advantage when he gets close. So we don't have to do a Vow of Enmity. We did a Vow of Enmity as in a buffer, so the, in that case, the Titan String would be the better option here. So there's a little bit of overlap happening, right? Inefficient function. Now, as you see, 2 of those hook horrors came over to where he called for reinforcements, but they didn't join the fight because I wasn't in a range where they could see me, etc. That's sort of the ideal, right? Because he's going to call for reinforcements as soon as he gets in the fight. We want to not be able to engage him when the rest of that happens. And then you sort of want to try and keep track of where each of those guys came from. It's very difficult because one of these hook horrors is automatically attached to the Wizard Villain group, right? The rest of them are not, right? Apparently he has some sort of love triangle relationship with one of these hook horrors that he has named it or something like that, like it's his puppy. And so right now when they're all grouped up, these 2 are grouped up like this, it's like anybody's guess, like which one is which. Now I think this bottom one that's closer to us is more likely to be the one that is with Filmgren, but we sort of have to see which one doesn't go towards the stairs. And since this one seems to, on the bottom left, seems to not go towards the stairs, that's the one we're going to guess at. Since we didn't get the wizard in our combat, we know that we guessed right. But the game did something weird here. We shot that guy, and we got aggro on this guy. So, I'm just mildly confused on how I aggroed him. I've never had this happen. I have 2,800 hours in this game. I've never had the top guy aggro from me shooting the bottom guy, and not had the bottom guy aggro at all. Correction. I now, after this run, have 2,900 hours in this game. This run only took, I think it's 40, it's like 41 hours of gameplay. Here we should put our AC back up. More important because we have the 2-hander on. Yoink, smacked him. And now we got to do that same guesswork on which one is attached to the wizard or not. I believe the one, again, that's the farther down there on the bottom left is not attached to him. So we have 2 options: either take a guess and shoot the hook horror. But if we shoot this close hook horror and he's attached to the wizard, then we then have to fight the wizard and the hook horror. But, like the wizard gets to do all his spells and stuff. However, if we just utilize a potion, since potions are not disabled by the Saucer Bloom, and take ourselves into invisibility mode, then we can actually come up to the wizard and just engage the wizard, and we'll only have to engage the same number, the hook horror and the wizard. Unfortunately, I don't have enough time for this guy to get into the fight. He's invisible, so he can, and I'm invisible. And I realize that's sort of like where that's at. But because I have the Susser Bloom on my person, this wizard can't cast any spells. He can't use the mirror image or anything else that he has. I catch him in a surprise round. I go, oh, you know what? I don't think I'm going to need little buddy.
I won't give in.
We'll go ahead and give ourselves advantage. Now he can take his potion, a Featherfall. But now this wizard's going to try and melee beat me with a quarterstaff. That's not going to work out for him. We can't Booming Blade, but we can't just auto attack. It's an auto attack fight between the two of us, and he's not built. He's not built for it. Oh, and apparently, Susser Bloom anti-magic does not affect smites. Yep, that didn't work. You're too weak to push me, and now he should die. 1 HP. What in the world? There we go. Toast. Now, because he died without casting a spell, he has a mirror image on him and a Misty Step that we get to keep. And then he has the Icy Helve. I think that's the Helve. Regardless, he has one piece of Morning Frost, which is going to be the weapon we use to kit. Like, we want to acquire that, put it together, and then we use that for basically all of Act 2. So we use the Spell Sparkler for Act 1, and then we eventually use just the other stuff for Act 2. Now, I've moved this flower out of my inventory because I want it to stop preventing me from doing magic, so that if this hook horror hits me and I need to like re-up my Shield of Faith, I don't have to worry about it preventing me from doing that. He doesn't have any magic to cast, but I want to make sure that if I need to use it to cast something, right? That I have it available. We're going to go ahead and run away from him, betting on the AC and the Booming Blade. But he has reach, so he didn't have to move as far enough to proc the Booming Blade. Or I didn't use a Booming Blade. One of those. Not sure how his reach beats my reach when I have a polearm, so I should have a 10-foot reach.
Step out of sight, out of mind.
Not a polearm, not just any polearm, a two-handed polearm. And here we are with our last hook horror. And it is the last one, because the other one on top of the tree isn't there anymore. We still have our Vow of Enmity up, but not for long, so we only got like two turns left on it. We don't have extra attacks, ranged attacks we don't get to just blast away with, unfortunately. Now this should be fairly easy. Oh, we got a crit. Sick. Not quite enough to game over it though. Yep, we can force him to Booming Blade. Remember from our mistake, give it more space so he has to move farther. Here we go. And that's that fight done. Now, because of this, we should be able to pick up all the Susser Blooms and then put them in the Arcane Tower and then go forge our Susser weapon we won't use the sussor weapon in any of our fights because it's the sussor weapon. I believe is limited to like 3 types of weapons. One of which is a greatsword, one of which is a dagger. Neither of those are we going to be using. I forget what the other one is, but if it was spear, then we've made a grave mistake in not using it because that's a +1 with a silence attached to it. That'd be I'd probably take that over the spell sparkler all day long, but at least on a utility purpose. We should go to the beach and go put this on the arcane tower. I do wish the arcane tower had its own sigil that we could teleport to. And then Geck's a fight we could do, right? But it sort of takes a little bit of setup, and part of that setup is going to include getting a minute. Like in order to do Geck, we have to get Minotaurs. We could kill Geck without Glut, for sure. And then Glut wants to be taken to go see their corpses, right? So we could do it in that order, but I like to sort of like keep it more streamlined. So like when I go to kill Geck, I take Glut with me, and then I go get a Minotaur, and then I go do the bullet instead. Now here I'm killing this thing to test whether or not I got the XP already. I kill it, and I don't get any XP, so I know that I've gotten all 40. I've got the 40 XP from all the turrets here. So this is just a drop-off of the Sussor Blooms to make the Bernard fight easier when we come back. As you can see, I have one Sussor Bloom already in the hut with the guy where the chair was for the Club of Hill Giant Strength. And then here we have 4 more, but we have 2 guys there, 1 up on top, 1 over off to the left, and 1 behind us. So if we place this Sussor Bloom right between those, or basically right behind Bernard, for those 2 guys, we prevent both of them. It'll catch both of them in there. Now, what's imperative of this is that when you do the fight and you break for your stealth, right, Bernard cannot be surprised. However, if you like enter combat without actively entering combat, so they think something is around that they need to go inspect, even though those animated constructs are quote unquote disabled, they will still be able to move. So they'll go searching for somebody. Even though they can't move, they can't take actions now, they can't enter any fights. But if something tries to engage combat and is still in stealth, forcing a search for a stealth combatant, right? Search for the person who did the thing, they will move outside of that range and go looking for you. So it is important to be in line of sight of Bernard and actively not stealthing so that he knows it's you when that happens. Here we put the you have to hit the fire, turn it on, stoke it with bellows, add the sussor. Once it's stoked, that makes it blue, and then you can add the weapon. And that gives us that level 6 we were looking for. Now I'm so stoked about getting level 6 there that I totally blanked the damn lava elemental. With level 6, I want to get the owlbear fight done. You could technically do it at level 5 because you have with the polearm master attacks, but it's just a longer fight than it has to be if you do it that way. And the reason I want to get the owlbear fight done is because I want to push the owlbear. I want to let it live and then get it to the goblin camp. And if I get it to the goblin camp, then it'll be in the goblin camp after my next long rest, right? Which allows me to then save it and get its quest line for coming into the camp and becoming a buddy going. at that point. If you don't care about the owlbear being your bud, then do it whenever. Leave this for later. Kill the bear. kill the little owlbear inside. That's completely up to you. I like to save it for level 6, and I like to I want to long rest before I do the goblin camp, at least on the outside. And he has to. You basically have to have killed his mom, and you have to have done this fight successfully before he's in the you do the outside goblin camp function, or he won't be able to show up, and you basically just block him off.
It's unlocked. My prayers are answered.
Get the old saloon stuff here. I don't know if there's any interaction with you holding onto the saloon idol and giving it to Shadowheart after she becomes a good girl. But I've never cared to find out. I usually sacrifice her to Bual, but found that I needed her for the Spear of Evening, which meant that I couldn't sacrifice her and I had to come up with somebody else. Unfortunately, Karlak got the nod in that regard.
Still alive.
Here we have Speak with Animals, so I believe we'll do the speech check.
It's a splinter. I've gutted bigger threats than you with worse.
There we go.
Brave, you can go.
Brave and stupid, etc. Now we can roam about in the front part of this. We can go up to the top. We can do that. There's just a threshold she won't let us cross. But this basically gives us all ample time to set up what we're going to do. We want to make sure we got we don't need the glaive, right? Because they're not monstrosities, they're beasts. We've already got crit immunity from our stuff. And we're looking to just basically be in full combat swing. We don't need the Whispering Promise because we have the protection, though we can sort of do a swap to get blessed with a heal and go back. The awareness helps us with our initiative order, and then we're still using, and then we have the Spell Sparkler with the shield combo. And I'm not sure where I'm at right now, so I'm going to go ahead and jump cut. And we're back. So, looks like we had to go to the bathroom. But we'll set up our prep here. We can get rid of protection from poison. This hot bar is confusing me. Like, I don't know where to put this. I don't need it. There we go. That's what we'd like to see. Put 8 up there. I did. Now I believe the best way to do this is either with haste for us, but you can take some damage from her. Like they do have pretty good hit rating, especially when they go enraged. So haste potion it is. Go invisible, and then I believe we're just gonna go for the gusto with this setup. Take the shovel. He doesn't need to be a part of the initiation of surprise, though he certainly could. And he could help. We've decided to change our mind. He won't make it in time, but he can start that off. And now we can come in. Now this is the interesting thing about this fight. Doesn't matter where you are on this map. If you are in this area when Shovel starts it, you get to be in combat as well. It doesn't ask. You are just a part of the process. We get a nice crit on our secondary. We're going to go ahead and blow resources into these. we opened up with the booming blade, so we can do a regular one, do a tier 1 smite. Now we passed turn here. We could have jumped over and gotten the haste, but I'm trying to conserve the haste for when she has the partner there, right? Or when the mate is available, right? I want to have as much time of haste with the mate.
Well,
So either
so much
A,
for
I have to take 2 of them and I have
Another
hasted
step forward.
defense levels, right? Or B, I have extra movement speed from murdering her, or when I murder her, to be able to go up there. So like she's at 5 health. I don't need to attack her here. I could jump or fly, right? Or Misty Step in this case, right? Is what I should do. Yeah. Oh, I do have jump. Yep. And enough hasted movement to get there. Oh, I can only get so far. Now, this isn't bad. We'll get a couple of shots there, right? If we had done Misty Step, we'd have got up there with better movement, and likely would have been able to tank him. But we go ahead and go into melee mode so that when he moves into our range, we'll get our polearm attack, like so. And then when she jumps up here, she should be she should take booming blade damage, but I don't believe she'll take it now because I think she basically was prone and got up but didn't move on her turn. However, we are, we're level 6. We have smites and we have beefy damage, so we're ready for her to come up here. She should jump up with us, and then we should get our reaction here if she gets in range. Nope, she's stuck at out of reach, but we're gonna go ahead and pop her. And then of note, we have Speak with Animals up, and she's gonna die up here on the top. And voila, instantly into the cutscene, and we get to let him live, right? And then he's not in combat with us anymore. We can loot the corpses, we can loot the owlbear egg, right? We have full range of this place, and he's just not hostile. So that's the ideal way. And you'll notice, right, the delay on the haste potion actually paid off, because had I not, I would have been lethargic when she jumped up there, right? Yeah, I would have gone lethargic on the same turn that she jumped up there and hit me, and so I would have had to tank 2 rounds of her attacks while lethargic and not having the haste buff up. And so that could have been detrimental, especially if she knocked me off, right? Like if I was lethargic and she knocked me off of there, and I took the falling damage, and then she crushing flighted me, and then did it again with her multi-attack. It's like, so she had potential to really mess me up. But we got it done. We're good for long resting whenever we're ready, right? We've got the owlbear gets to live. It's going to go to the goblin camp, and now we're just deciding what we want to do with the rest of these spells. So we have options, right? We have the red caps are still up. Yep, that's where I decided to go. There's also the Paladins of Tyr. Technically there's more in the Grimforge where we can pull some of the other guys away from Sergeant Thrin in that area and push them off the cliff. There's obviously the Lava Elemental that I forget. There's a couple different places where we can kind of get some decent XP. I only have 3 of the 4 of these, but I have both sages. So that's all I really care about, right? So I want to have both sages in combat range. Here I was a little close to the sight line, so I ended up in combat even though Shovel did the initiation. We'll go ahead and use the oil of accuracy so that we don't miss. And we're okay using our spells because we want to make sure that these guys die. We didn't need to smite there to kill that guy because we're going to get another round of attacks anyway. Because that was a surprise round. That's the other Blood Sage. Oh. There we go. One down. Now one of these has a hold person scroll, one of them doesn't. But being in melee allows us to impose disadvantage. If they do some attacks, they also do some like additional effect that we will likely save from. We want to not react to this, so that like as long as we maintain our reaction to be able to do an attack of opportunity, this red cap won't be, this sage won't run away from us. And he did his cast for Bloodlust on the other guy, which is fine, because it gives him the other guy 3 attacks. But we are about to mess up this sage anyway. Or try to. And if we kill, we decide to tank. If we, that's right, that's right. Oh no. Yep. We don't have anything for it. Damn, we have to tank without that. 6 measly damage. Old bro with his 3 attacks, I think he hit on 2. Open wounds we save from, no big.
No choice but to keep going.
Regular attack, keep booming blade available. Now we go ahead and take care of these. Now without Bloodlust, these guys are way less scary. They're like Iron Pursuit or whatnot, where they come up and like kick you with both feet. That does stupid amounts of damage. But I believe that's still an attack roll. I think it has a save after the attack roll. And since we have such a high AC, I don't think they even try. Like we just sort of get to beat them. This guy gets knocked prone due to reverb, and we're happy to use up some spells. We should have smite there, but we do have an extra guy here to take care of as well, and we've got booming blade damage on the next one. And this should be, we could save it for a crit, but there's Iron Pursuit. 12 damage, concentration throw. We did, right? So, like, he didn't get a really good damage roll on his Iron Pursuit, but that thing is annoying. Go ahead and smite him. Finish this fight off. This one doesn't have it. The other one has the whole person. And protects from good and evil. Awesome. And we don't want to engage, you could do Gandriel, but we're out of spells and we don't need to really do anything there. We're out of short rest, I believe. Yep. So this should be long rest time.
Hellsfire.
You haven't introduced me to your friend. Where are Handler and he? Clause G, Section 9.
Yeah, Mizora, go
Target shall be
ahead.
limited to the
Do your
infernal,
talking.
The demonic, the cheer up, Buttercup. Carlac, more to the point.
Here's my video proof
You obeyed.
that you get the infernal robes if Karlak is sacrificed, even if she's sacrificed to Bual, right? As long as she dies before she and Will have a conversation and come to terms.
Keep an eye. I'll be keep.
Oh, and where?
Send those to camp. Well, talk to Will because, of course, he's gotta talk about his issues. Yep, you made the pact with the devil lady.
Make myself comfortable. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Volo. Take your money.
I have something to ask.
Damn it, Carla.
Yeah, whatever.
And
What'd
I
you
was
expect? She's a devil.
But, oh, so
Etc. Etc. Alright, now let's
Until
get out of here.
Karlach.
We don't actually care.
It was
And now, we're good to go.
There are important matters to discuss.
Withers? What do you want to talk about? He doesn't have an icon over his head, so whatever. He's just talking trash. Do some camp supply cleanup. And now we get another
You're desperate
thing.
to be rid of it. The parasites are
It's alright. It's alright. We're not worried about it.
Not for my protection.
We're gonna let them consume our mind. It's just we're gonna do it in our own time. You know, we should wait until the gobos are no longer a problem, and the traders we don't need. When we don't need Roa for scrolls, we're all in. Yes, follow. Yes, follow. Now we don't want to tell. Once we get to this point, right? I have one long rest after you get the bardic chest from him. One long rest after that happens. You do not want to ask him if his research has turned anything up. He'll tell you, it has, and he'll be ready to perform surgery. We're still going to use him for the trader stuff because he's also decent at proccing some of the higher level spells, like haste and blur and stuff like that. So when we do our trading with Roa for those things, we trade off between trading with Roa and then coming into camp and trading with him, and then we level up the hirelings. So each level up resets the trader stuff, and we do that on repeat. But that'll do it for this episode. We should get to the goblin camp in the next one, at least the outside, and start that up. So hopefully you found this informative or entertaining or both, and if you did,